a liberal expert. Mr. Gamey, I know that you definitely are privy to some more information beyond what has been put out in the media. How would organized labor leaders achieve that objective of convincing their members that, well, this 9% is not good, we could have done better, but then again, accept it as has been put out?
Thank you very much. Well, I am not too surprised about the concerns being raised by some members of the unions regarding the 9% achievement by the leadership of the union. But let me from the outset say congratulations to both the Ghana Employees Association, government leadership, and organized labor. They have done exceptionally well. The point is that we have lived in the past with a certain mindset of pressurizing governments into submission by way of adjusting both the national daily minimum wage and the base pay. That's how we have lived, and it has cost us, unfortunately, beyond description. It has affected the fiscal policies of various governments and the forest management, as well as ensuring that we do not fall back as it used to be. Now, fortunately, we have a government in place that is mindful about all these past events and have taken pragmatic steps to ensure that we have an integrative economic model that would help working people not to suffer and fall into the doldrums in which we found ourselves the past 8 years. I have no intention of speaking for government or accusing past government. They are all my friends. But the reality is that we have some knowledge and we can share it. The point is that in setting up a national daily minimum wage and a base pay for public sector workers, you have to consider a number of things. One, especially that of inflation, the projected inflation and the actual. If government projected to achieve a 9% inflation and they, let's say, achieved a 15% inflation, what it means that they have as much as 6% deficit, which calls for a restoration. So a restoration will be made to enable people to be restored to parity. That is how national daily minimum wage, which I have chaired a number of times, is set. Now, the other point is that the cost of living in the country will be considered based upon these inflationary trends, as well as forest management. And therefore, it is important these three key variables will be taken into consideration in talking about this issue that is before us. Right. And that's the reason why people should stop perhaps accusing, but generally I can appreciate the transition in which you find ourselves. Now, because of the integrative economic management, workers will have to be educated to understand that it is not only about pay. It's about ensuring that they have food security. It's about ensuring that their health needs are met. And it's about ensuring that their children are well educated.
But Mr. Gamey, so you mentioned the inflation rate, right? Dropping from 9.4% to 8% in October. But then again, the concern when you speak to members of organized labor is that there hasn't been a direct impact on the cost of living in terms of that sharp and steep depreciation in the inflation rate, which is one of the factors that you have just referenced influences the determination of the base pay, right? Because the understanding is that the rate of increase in prices of goods and services has reduced, but not the price of goods and services. So you can understand where the concern is that, you know, they're still looking at the real economy, the real cost of living that they live with on a daily basis. That's a point to consider, is it not?
Well, I appreciate the concerns they have, but I think it is not well founded.
Why is that?
The reason being, yes, it's not well founded, and it cannot be well founded. The reason is simple. That's why we are talking about an integrative economy and not just hanging things around as if somebody has washed a dress and has hung it and is going to remove it. That's not the issue. We are talking about building a nation. For the first time in the history of this country, we have an ongoing holistic construction going on our roads. Whom is it going to benefit?
Because
how is it going to impact on the economy in a short while to come? Therefore, we have to put into perspective all these efforts so that we do not talk about pay increase as if using a 30% of national income in sharing upon public sector wage levels alone will translate the people into something. We don't run economy like that. And I think that for the first time, we should also appreciate that the traditional scandalous running of an economy is not with us again. We don't have scandals in this country. People are not corrupt as it used to be. And therefore, we must appreciate the fact that taming corruption, ensuring that education is progressively being managed much better than before. And today, people are saying that they are not reflecting. Today, people demonstrated in Tamale because they have too much of rice they cannot sell, and other cereals they cannot sell. In Brong-Ahafo, people are lamenting about availability of eggs and therefore chicken that they cannot be able, they are unable to sell. People must be glad. And therefore, it's also to be understood that inflation being tamed does not mean that you have a drastic reduction. It only helps to ensure that the acceleration of increase will be deaccelerated, will be decreased. And therefore, people should understand, and I believe that Dr. Otu of TUC, the Deputy Secretary General, and his colleagues are very capable of helping explaining these things to their members to appreciate the dynamics of the changes we are witnessing in this country. So I think that kudos to all of them. They've done well. I appreciate it. When I was like very young and I was working, I would have done the same thing they are doing. But I think that times have changed, and they must thank God for a government that is responding positively to the demands of changing trends in the economic management. And so in about 1.5 years to come, I think that things will change, and the inflation will come down. It won't go up. If it goes up, it will be marginal.
Right. We're expecting the finance minister to present the budget, all things being equal, on the 13th. So there'll be a bit more detail on some of the measures that will be put in place to sustain the gains that have been experienced so far. Thank you. Gamey, Celebra expert, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.